What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, man? It's your boy Jeremy back with another episode of No Huddle. Got my guy in the building. How you doing, bro?
What's going on, party people? It's Hassan the African back for another episode 18 of this no huddle thing we doing. I'm good,
Okay,
man. How you doing, Big
doing
Papa?
pretty good, bro. Doing pretty good. We apologize about last week. I had to go into the bird's nest last weekend in Philadelphia, so we had to cancel the show. But I was bombarded by a whole bunch of Eagles fans, and they let me know. I'm in Bird Nation, man. So fly Eagles fly. I did have a bet on the line with my wife and one of her friends that's from Philadelphia, and now I have to paint my face green and then come on camera and sing the Fly Eagles Fly song. But so I'm gonna do that for them, whatever like that. But I felt like we should have did the bet this week. But hey, a bet is a bet, and I gotta honor my bet. So it is what it is. But
Can't
but
wait.
yeah, man, I'm good, bro. Just what I'm saying, life is going well so far. I can't even complain.
I love that. Love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So we want to welcome y'all to another episode of No Huddle with Jeremy and Hassan. You said this episode 18.
Yes, sir.
So we on our Pay Many episode, the greatest number 18 of all time.
Mhm.
But yeah, so definitely, man, y'all tell everybody about the show. Tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your dog, tell your cat, tell your snake, tell your rat, and throw in your pet eagle if you have one. Cause hey, man, them boys flying, man, them boys flying. We won't see tomorrow, but them boys flying right now.
Was ready
So
for it.
like I said, welcome to another episode of Fan of No Huddle. Don't forget, go to YouTube right now, subscribe to Fan of Atlanta 365, the network. That's where you can catch us. No Huddle. You can catch Fan of Atlanta 365. You can also hopefully next year catch J and B, the Talk of the Dirty South show, and Uncle and Nephew next year. But definitely go to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can get all the alerts whenever we go live, whenever we post some content, so you can watch us. We thank y'all for y'all continuous support. We ask that y'all continue to support us. Please like, share, comment on these videos because we always gonna comment back. But through your likes and your shares and your comments and you subscribing to the channel, it's gonna help us. It's gonna help our channel grow. So we need y'all help to do that. So please do that for us, man. Tell everybody about the show. Hey, you got anything before we get going?
Hey, man, I'm gonna just say a shout out to Steve Wilkes, man. They did that man dirty.
Dirty,
He went
dirty.
from 1-4 and then went 6-6 and had them this close to the playoffs
One
after
game.
trading away their best player and after the dumpster fire that they had in their quarterback room. Come on, man.
Yes.
At what
Yes.
point? At what point is the Rooney Rule going to actually be overhauled or just removed entirely and something different happening? Because it's not working, and it
Right.
hasn't
Right.
worked for a long time.
Right. In the words of Malcolm X, I think it was Malcolm X. They asked him, do he think racism will ever end? And he said, until we delete every law that so-called protects, everybody, and just live based on the basic foundation laws that was set by the founding fathers, then we will always have racism. Because anytime you need a law that protects someone to prove that they have citizenship, that they're granted the equal rights, then you'll never have no racism, non-racism, I guess, society. So until we get rid of the Rooney Rule and actually say, hey, everybody's equal, and we operate like that, then we'll always have these issues. Anytime you have to have a Rooney Rule to give black people an opportunity, then we already have a problem. So, that's just my take. But yeah, shout out to Steve Wilkes. Hopefully, I know the Falcons brought him in for an interview for a defense coordinator position, which don't make sense to me because I'm like, he was a head coach. Like, how did he get demoted when he took a team and turned it around? Like, how? I don't understand that. I never understand that. Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's what black people have to deal with. Black coaches. Whenever we have a chance and we don't make water into wine, we end up having to take 10 steps backwards and start all the way over, where our counterparts get another head coaching position, just like Frank Wright. He got fired by the Indianapolis coach. Was he the Indianapolis coach this year?
Yes, he was. Yes, he
Before
was.
Jeff
Yes, he
Saturday?
was. Yes, he
Okay,
was.
and then he got fired and then got another job.
And to add insult to injury, he got fired, and during his firing, the Colts had the 29th ranked offense.
Yes.
But the owner, David Tepper, said that he wanted an offensive-minded coach. Just saying. And I think it's suspicious that Brian Flores, who also was fired for doing his job, as well as Steve Wilkes, are two of the plaintiffs in the current lawsuit against the NFL for, racial discrimination in terms of hiring practices for coaches and the like. So maybe it's a coincidence, but I think not. And I think it's even more disappointing because, okay, fine, you got Frank Wright there. Okay, he used to play in fact, he was the first quarterback for the Panthers. Didn't last long. And then Kerry, I believe his name was Kerry Collins from Penn State years ago, became the starting quarterback, and then the rest was history. So there is a tie there. However, Steve Wilkes from that area is a fan of the team.
Right. So that's two teams who have done Steve Wilkes bad right now.
Right. And he
the
didn't
Arizona Cardinals.
And he didn't deserve it.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
And watch, they're going to mess around. The Panthers are going to mess around, draft some quarterback, and then, turn the corner, and then, they'll benefit off of that, off of the foundation that was set.
So now we down to what? How many black head coaches you got? Mike Tomlin and so-called Mike. What's the guy who coaches the San Francisco 49ers?
Oh, you mean
Mike Daniels?
Yeah, you're referring to the Mike McDaniels and
Mike Daniels.
Yeah, he was the former offensive coordinator, for the 49ers.
And he's the Miami Dolphins coach.
Miami Dolphins.
And he's like a percentage of black, even though he don't look black, but okay, we'll go
I believe he's biracial. I believe one of his parents is black.
So we have two head coaches.
You have Todd Boyles as of right now.
Todd Boyles. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So three.
Yeah. And then you have Robert Salah, who is of Middle Eastern descent. No. He's a
minority.
He's a minority. So you technically have four minority coaches, three of which are black, or two of which are black. One is biracial. The other is of Arab descent. Out of 32 owners and 32 teams. But
Eric Belindemy still don't have a job.
And Byron Leftwich was fired as an OC.
Yes.
Which makes it even worse. Yeah. And he was a hot candidate. And we lost Lovie Smith as a coach as well.
And you got people like Dan Quinn able to turn down jobs. Yeah.
Because of unfinished business.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Well, at least you get an opportunity to finish your business, because some coaches don't, but hey, I digress on that. Yeah. So whatever, man. Right. I'm
tired to derail the train. Let's keep this party going.
Yeah. So you did say you wanted to discuss one topic before the other topic. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the topic that you wanted to discuss first. So let's see where we at. Okay, so this is a guy you wanted to discuss first.
Let's do it.
All right. So as we all know, the Buffalo Bills have, been eliminated last week against the Cincinnati Bengals. So we have a question. Has Josh Allen been labeled as an elite quarterback too prematurely? Hey man, what you think?
Unpopular opinion, yes. Does that mean that he's not a superstar? No, he absolutely is a superstar quarterback in this league. However, if you look at his statistics, his first two seasons, his first season, he had about 2,400 passing yards. His passing percentage, completion percentage was 58.8. And he had a handful of touchdowns. 2019, he had a similar completion percentage, and he increased it from 2,400 yards, passing yards, to 3,889 with 20 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. The reason why that's relevant is that was the last season in which he didn't have a premier passing weapon because they signed or traded for Stephon Diggs in 2020. So as a result, his completion percentage went up to 69.2 with 4,544 passing yards for 37 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. The other thing I should mention is he's always been a rushing quarterback, so that's no secret there. But that increased dramatically as he continued to progress. And over the past several seasons, he's pretty much averaged anywhere from 4,000 to 4,400 passing yards, anywhere from 30 some odd touchdowns to 10 to 14 interceptions. But those numbers are gaudy. And then if you add, for example, this past season, he rushed for 762 rushing yards and 7 TDs. So combined, he had about 40 some odd touchdowns and 14 interceptions, and he threw for 400. You can almost say basically he had 5,000 total yards from scrimmage with those stats. Those are great numbers. Those are superstar numbers. No denying that. But when you say elite quarterbacks, back in the day, an elite quarterback would have been like Tom Brady in his prime, Peyton Manning in his prime. It would have been a guy like Drew Brees in his prime. These are the elite quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers in his prime. Yes, he's had superstar numbers, Pro Bowl caliber numbers, absolutely. But to say that he's elite, I think is still premature. And was he aided by having Stephon Diggs? Absolutely. I mean, but they both helped each other because Stephon Diggs, before coming to the Bills, he had about 1,100 receiving yards and a decent amount of touchdowns. But that increased to 1,500 receiving yards in 1 year. So that definitely correlated between their chemistry. And then if you add Gabe Davis and some of those complementary pieces, sure. But when it comes to being elite, how far can you take your team? How far can you take them and compete for championships? Peyton Manning was competing for championships regularly with no defense, more often than not. And the 1 year in Indianapolis where he even had a middle of the road defense, they won the Super Bowl against a team that was a defensive juggernaut in the in the Bears that year.
Yeah.
So I'm saying all that to say elite quarterbacks do more with less. Yeah, and granted, some will say, well, guys like Peyton Manning and even Tom Brady, they've won with Hall of Fame pass catchers. That's true. But there have been years where they didn't also. And they made guys into Hall of Fame pass catchers. Case in point, again, Peyton Manning. When he left Indianapolis or got cut and he signed with the Broncos, yeah, they had some decent guys, but nobody you would say is one of the top 10 wideouts in the league.
Yeah.
He turned them into premier wideouts. Tom Brady won most of his Super Bowls with, or at least half, for argument's sake, without a top flight pass catcher.
Right.
So I'm saying all this to say, I think Josh Allen has the potential of being considered elite. I think he is currently a superstar. If I'm a GM of a team, he's probably on my short list of quarterbacks I would want to start a franchise with.
Right.
But I can think off the top of my head of at least 3 quarterbacks I would select ahead of him. So those 3, like for example, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, definitely those 2. And at this juncture, I'd even take a stab at Jalen Hurts.
Mm.
And the reason for that is he's he's not as turnover prone.
Yeah.
And the way his current game is evolving, he'll be upright longer to me than Josh Allen.
Right.
Because Josh Allen is so key to everything that makes that offense go, in turn, especially on the running side of the ball. I would measure those three as a safer bet. So if I can think of three, does that make him elite? For me, it's a no. So as a result, he's had great seasons. He's had historic seasons. Happy for him. But I still need to see a little bit more, especially when you're going against the true elite quarterbacks. Because that team got dismantled by Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Just
right.
saying.
Right. No. I think, yes, I agree with you. He has been labeled as an elite quarterback, too early, in my opinion. I think Josh Allen is another example of what I always blame Lamar Jackson of, and that's he's the regular season champ. He during the regular season he gonna put up the numbers, but when the rubber needs to hit the road, that's when you get the real Josh Allen. Throughout the season, I seen him doing like a lot of running, not protecting himself, just trying to make plays. And you said it before. He had Stephon Diggs, who took a lot of that pressure off of him, where he had a safety blanket. However, I just feel like Josh Allen, to me, he wears down as the season goes along. And when he's faced with a challenge like the Cincinnati Bengals or Patrick Mahomes, he never plays to his best ability. I believe if we're gonna say elite, you got to be able to beat those. You got to be able to beat the man in order to be the man. And I just felt like, to me, it's Patrick Mahomes, it's Joe Burrow. Like you said, I would even take Jalen Hurts. I would even take Lamar Jackson over Josh Allen, just because Lamar Jackson, although in the playoffs he haven't been the best. However, he won MVPs, and we saw what the Ravens would be without Lamar Jackson. He's their offense. He haven't had an elite receiver his whole career.
Right.
So for me, Josh Allen, like, first of all, you're too big to be, just like losing the way you do. I just feel like in the playoffs, he haven't been able to show me anything. And I think in today's time, we see a lot of people being crowned before they even did anything. Like, we already crowned, Lamar Jackson as one of the greatest. And the man, yes, he won an MVP, haven't really did much in the playoffs. Josh Allen, never won an MVP, had some good seasons, can't really win in the playoffs. He'll get through the wild card, but in the divisional round, it's like, what happened, Josh Allen? So for me, I just haven't seen enough to deem him as elite. Do I think he's a great quarterback? Do I think he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks right now? Yes, he's definitely in my top 5. However, I need to see more in order to deem you as elite. I need to see you go against the elite talent and come out and win that game, and put it on your back. We haven't seen you take over a game yet where it's like, okay, Josh Allen, he put the team on his back and he took them where they needed to go. I haven't seen that from him in the playoffs yet. I just seen it be a team win. That's all I've been seeing. I haven't seen Josh Allen just making the throws and doing it consistently to be able to label him as elite. We label Aaron Rodgers as elite when he went on that Super Bowl run, and ever since then, we knew he was the next guy that was gonna take the crown. We saw Tom Brady from the beginning of his career all the way to now. Even still, he's still considered one of the best quarterbacks in the league every year. We've seen Patrick Mahomes come in from almost rookie season, maybe second season, and just take over and win a Super Bowl MVP, won an MVP in the regular season, won Offensive Player of the Year. made it to 5 Pro Bowls. We've seen elite quarterbacks in their prime, just like Josh Allen, and yet he has yet to show me, hey, I could do this in the playoffs. That's what it takes to be elite. You cannot be an elite quarterback or an elite player if you're not winning in the playoffs, especially at that position. Now, if you were like a defensive player, or not even a defensive player, if you was like a wide receiver or
Running back.
maybe even like a running back or something,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we know a lot of times your play is depending on others' play. The offensive line has to block. If you're a receiver, the quarterback has to throw you the ball. So we have seen, like, I understand that, but however, as a quarterback, you have the ball on every play in your hands. You're the captain. You're supposed to be the leader of this team, and I have yet to see you galvanize the troops and win playoff games consistently. Don't just win a wild card game against the weaker talent in the playoffs. Go and beat the man so you can one day be the man. And so to me, I just can't see him as elite. I do see him as a great quarterback. I see him as one of the top quarterbacks right now, but I don't see an elite quarterback. And I feel like, yes, he has been labeled as an elite quarterback prematurely.
And I'm going to take some time to slander a quarterback that I feel is in line with this, Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert is another one that is he will put up the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he will maximize the talent that's given to him. But when it comes to, like you said, rubber meets the road, he comes up short.
Yep.
There's levels to this. And those guys, they're not on the penthouse. They're not on the balcony yet. They're not there, but they're very close.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yep. And for me, you go out there and lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not saying the Jacksonville Jaguars aren't going to be good in the future, but we know that the Jacksonville Jaguars, they took a step. They made it a little bit early. Everybody assumed, like, okay, Tennessee going to win this division this year, and then maybe Indianapolis, and then the Jaguars and the Houston Texans, they're going to be having a top pick in the draft. But what do we see? What do we see Trevor Lawrence do? He took his team on his back and made the throws that he needed to make, and helped his team win a division championship, and then came into the playoffs and knocked off Josh Allen. Played way better than Josh Allen.
Herbert.
Like, come on, man. And the Buffalo Bills was leading in that game, and then what Trevor Lawrence do? Come back. He came back, and I think they were down like 21-0 or something like that. And he galvanized the troops, and he won that game. For me, I think Trevor Lawrence may be more elite than Josh Allen, even though he's just starting, but he showed the ability in the playoffs to beat an elite team that he wasn't supposed to beat, and he did it with poise. He did it he put the team on his back. We have yet to see Josh Allen do that.
Right. So I see what you mean with Trevor Lawrence. Basically, he elevated his play when his team needed it the most.
Correct.
And the one time I can say
with no elite wide receivers. No elite wide receivers.
Right.
No elite tight end.
Right. He made Kirk into a Pro Bowl caliber receiver this year.
Correct.
But with Josh Allen, the only thing I'll say, the only pushback to that is, okay, last season when he went up against Patrick Mahomes
in the AFC,
he elevated his play there. However, at the end of the day, the Chiefs got the ball last and won, in my opinion, on the technicality.
Right.
However, that being said, like you said, it has to be consistency, and it has to show up against the guys you need to beat in order to take that next step. And there's clearly a drop off as it pertains to him. Yes, they lost Von Miller and half of their defense, but injuries happen. We can't make that the excuse. I mean, look at the Niners. The Niners are like one game away from the Super Bowl with a third string quarterback.
Yes, Mr. Irrelevant at that.
A rookie third string quarterback. So I'm sorry, Josh. You got to show me more.
Yeah.
And you got to show me more against the truly elite for me to consider you
Right.
part of that fan club or
Yes.
part of that club, and you're not there.
Right. I agree with that.
We'll
I
see.
agree. All right. So yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and switch gears to another topic that that we needed to discuss. Because last week somebody came at me, and it's time for me to go ahead and reveal the truth. As
It's fine.
it's time for me to predict another great prediction from the great Jeramy Howard, the guru. So let's go ahead and get to it, man. As we all know, the New York Giants have been eliminated last week as well at the hands of the Philadelphia Eagles. But a question did arise. Is Daniel Jones on track to be the Giants' next franchise quarterback? What do you say, my sir?
Okay. So this one is a trick question. And I'll say, yes, he is technically on track to be their franchise quarterback in the sense that he'll be their starting quarterback. But if you're referring to him becoming a franchise QB as we know the terminology, no. I see more of a potential of his peak of his career being in line with Kirk First Cousins, more so than, I don't know, a Josh Allen type or a Joe Burrow type or even a Justin Herbert type. The reason for me, he's in his fourth year?
Yep.
He's in his fourth year.
He just completed his fourth year.
Usually what you see is what you get with these quarterbacks after 3, 4, maybe 5 years. And yes, he's improved tremendously. But the funny thing is, all right, if you compare his numbers from last year to this year, last year he completed 64 of his passes for 2,428 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. That was last year. He also ran for 279 yards and 2 TDs. All right, man. I was actually surprised his completion percentage was that high. I thought it was lower. This year, he's rushed for 708 yards with 7 touchdowns, and he improved his completion percentage to a pretty good 67.2%. And he threw for 3,205 yards, 15 TDs, and he had only 5 picks. I was like, all right, those are decent numbers, respectable numbers. But I think what we're looking at is something similar to a Ryan Tannehill kind of type of season, where it's like, oh wow, big quarterback, about the same size. Daniel Jones is about 6'5". Tannehill is about 6'4". They're in the 220, 230 range. Okay, big guys, and they can move when they're healthy. But they play for run-first offenses that have premier talent at the running back position and have a solid, if not upper tier offensive line and a system and a scheme that plays to their favor. So I'm saying, to me, I haven't seen enough to call him a franchise quarterback. But will the Giants re-up? Yes, they're going to, because he's young. And what else are they going to do? Because of the season they've had, they're probably going to pick in the mid to late round. So they're not going to get one of the elite quarterbacks that you would, kind of replace a Daniel Jones with. They're not going to get they're not going to get, Bryce Young or one of those guys. That's out. And who knows who's going to be available in the free agent market? And would anybody outside of maybe David Carr be an upgrade? No. You're getting a bag of mixed goods. You don't know what you're going to get in this free agent market right now. So yes, they're going to pay him. They're going to re-up, and they believe that, oh, well, Brian Daboll, look at what he did with Josh Allen. They'll coach him up. They'll coach Daniel Jones up too. So I'm saying all that to say, I personally have not seen enough. I think he's more in line with a Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins type of career than, him being the next best kept secret. I don't see it. And if we were going to see it, this would have been the year. His numbers don't suggest it. Drastic improvement, but his numbers last year were pedestrian. They were closer to a backup than or like a Baker Mayfield type of season than he's the next guy. So I think he's a product of a system and of an elite running back, and they overplayed their talent level this year. But I think over the next 2 to 3 seasons, if he lasts that long in the league, we will see who Daniel Jones really is. This isn't a Jalen Hurts situation by no stretch. I've been wrong, but I've been right more than I've been wrong. So we'll see what happens.
Question.
Answer.
During the time in San Diego,
oh boy,
did you see Drew Brees as an elite franchise quarterback?
No, I didn't. I saw him as a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, but he also.
But did you see him doing?
I didn't see Hall of Fame first ballot in him. No, absolutely.
Okay, so let's kind of look at Drew Brees' stats during his stint in San Diego. Okay. In 2001, he only played one. He only started one game. He only played one game, so we'll count it out. But he had 221 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, 2 sacks. Okay. 2002, he actually started all 16 games, went 32 and 3,284 yards, 17 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, 24 sacks. 2003, he started 11 games, 2,108 yards, 11 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 21 sacks. 2004, started 15 games, 3,159 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 18 sacks. 2005, started all 16 games, which was his last year in San Diego. 3,576 yards, 24 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 27 sacks. I think at that time they drafted they originally drafted Eli Manning.
Yep.
But then Eli didn't want to play there, so they made a trade for Phillip Rivers, which Phillip Rivers became their franchise quarterback. Right. So since joining the New Orleans Saints in 2006 and also joining Sean Payton, Brees began averaging 4,000 plus yards per season. And we know what history has shown us, that the man is elite. Probably, I think right now he's second as far as the most passing yards of all time, because of Tom Brady playing way over the amount of years that Drew Brees have played. Yep. But within them years, 85,000 plus yards, elite.
Yep. So Hall of Famer, first ballot.
Yeah, the reason why I want to start off with Drew Brees is because, as we know, there's another story that's coming to fruition, and I'm gonna be the first one that's gonna predict it. I'm not saying he's gonna be Drew Brees, because he's not. He's not that guy. No. What he will be, who I think he will be, maybe like an Aaron Rodgers, maybe somebody who could put up a lot of yards, win a Super Bowl, and win an MVP. I think he's gonna do that. The reason why I say that, 2019.
Wait, I'm sorry for the audience back home. Can you please repeat that part, please?
I think that Daniel Jones, I'm saying this right now. Okay. Daniel Jones, at the end of his career, we're going to compare him to Aaron Rodgers. Not saying that he came in from his rookie season, but Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to say he's going to have a similar career to Aaron Rodgers. Now, 2019, Daniel Jones started 13 games, 3,027 yards, 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 38 sacks. On that roster, as far as playmakers, he has Saquon Barkley, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Golden Tate, after he had, came from the Lions and put up all those numbers and came to the Giants, gave him all that money. He didn't turn out. Evan Ingram, who's now with I think with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's doing pretty good.
Yep.
2020, started 14 games, 2,943 yards, 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 45 sacks. On that team, he had Wayne Gallman as the starting running back. Saquon was hurt.
Yep.
Sterling Shepard also had Darius Slayton, no Golden Tate, and then he had Evan Ingram. 2021, 11 starts, 2,428 yards, 10 touchdowns, seven interceptions, 22 sacks. Had Saquon Barkley, Sterling Shepard, Kenny Golladay, who ended up not turning out, another Lion player that didn't do anything. Evan Ingram and Kyle Rudolph. 2022, which is this past season, started all 16 games, 3,205 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 44 sacks. Of course, we know he has Saquon Barkley, but who is this guy? I think his name is Isaiah Hodgins. You know that guy?
Nope.
Yeah, no elite receiver. Kenny Golladay, was he good? Nope. Evan Ingram. I'm sorry. I meant the wrong year. Saquon Barkley, Isaiah Hodgins, Darius Slayton. Okay. I think it's can't remember his first name. I just got R. James. I think it's Robert James or something like that. Was he good? Yeah. And then D. Bellinger as the tight end. Come on now. This man still threw for 3,205 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, sacked 44 times. So what is the common denominator? It seems like they need to get an offensive line and get this man some weapons. Get this man some elite weapons. It seems like he can turn nothing into something. I just felt like he had bad coaches. Joe Judge, was he a good head coach?
Of course not.
Okay. It was somebody else he had in his first season, and I can't remember. It was after Tom Coughlin. Can't remember the coach. He wasn't a good coach. Only was there for a year.
Yeah.
So now a guy named a heaven-sent head coach comes to the New York Giants, Brian Daboll. You said it before. He's the one who's responsible for getting Josh Allen to where he's at as an elite quarterback. Josh Allen, first few years, nobody saw Josh Allen taking that step forward. Brian Daboll was on the scene, and we saw what happened. Now Brian Daboll is in New York. He has a rookie quarterback who was drafted too high. Now I do agree he was drafted way too high. However, nobody's been able to help him have an elite 3 years before Brian Daboll gets there. Brian Daboll gets there, his stats go up, his interceptions goes down. They make it to the playoffs. They have a winning record, and it wasn't like that. It wasn't like Daniel Jones was just being a game manager. I seen this man literally take some games on his back with no talent now on the offensive side of the ball. Other than Saquon Barkley having a great year again, reminding us of his rookie season and a few seasons after that. Other than that, not really much talent on this offense. Other than Darius Slayton, maybe that's your top receiver.
Yeah, and a rental for Kadarius Toney, who got traded
who got traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, and it seems like that's a better home for him. But
wonder why?
Well, it's an elite quarterback. I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes, and you don't have to be the man because you have a Travis Kelce as well. So and still got a pretty solid offensive line. So at the end of the day, if you give Daniel Jones an offensive line that can block, a Saquon Barkley who can stay healthy, and you allow Daniel Jones to just be a part of this system, hey, we may be looking at the Nets, Aaron Rodgers. That may be who we be looking at right now. So with that being said, yes, Daniel Jones will be the Nets franchise quarterback of the New York Giants. He's also got that rubber stamp from Eli Manning. He was in their camp, and Eli Manning and Peyton Manning was the ones who were saying, "Hey, draft this guy," and the Giants took a chance on him. And now I think the Giants will be rewarded in the future, because this year has marked the year that Daniel Jones have planted that flag to let them know, I'm the Nets franchise quarterback for the New York Giants.
Is that okay? Sure, he planted a flag, but it's gonna be a white flag. I'm telling you, listen, you're falling for the Ryan Tannehill reclamation in Tennessee. Look, I would love to be wrong in this situation. I really would.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really would. But I don't see it, man. Look, and I know you're saying his trajectory could be as high as Aaron Rodgers. It sounds good, but nah, I think right now you're suffering from some recency bias and you
Mm-hmm.
might be prisoner of the moment. I will say there were some games where he put his big boy pants on and won the game.
Yes.
I'm not denying the fact that he has heart
Mm-hmm.
because he's had some offensive lines that were god awful, worse than the Rams' offensive line now,
Mm-hmm.
which is saying something. But he's a quarterback. I've seen quarterbacks produce more with less. You know, like so for me, we'll see. I could be wrong, but I think if Josh Allen was labeled elite prematurely, Daniel Jones definitely is being labeled a franchise quarterback prematurely.
Mm.
And I
So
feel like this is going to be another thing that the Giants are going to do, and it's going to set them back like 3 to 5 years as the rest of the NFC East continues to grow and develop. And they'll be a bottom feeder because of that. Because prior to 1 or 2 games of this season, people
mm-hmm.
were still calling Daniel Jones a game manager and mediocre
Mm.
at throwing the football. With all his size, with all his endorsements from Dave Cutcliffe, who also coached Peyton Manning and Eli, and having the Manning family stamp of approval, like you said, I really want to see what he would look like without Saquon or without Dable.
Well, what's the point of saying he's? I feel like him and Dayball could be the Nets, Sean Payton and Drew Brees
I was hoping
type
you. I
quarterback
was
coaching.
hoping you. I was hoping you weren't going to say this because it's recorded,
I'm
but
not. I'm not saying that he's going to be Drew Brees, and I'm not saying that Brian Dayball will
I
be
get
Sean
it
Payton. What I'm saying is, I believe that these two is a match made in heaven,
to
and
that extent.
sometimes it
To
takes
that
for you to
extent.
have the right court, the right coach,
Hmm.
the right system that
Hmm.
fits what you do
Hmm.
well, and you have to have some of those key players around you as well. Like
Right.
that's just like saying, imagine Patrick Mahomes without a Travis Kelce and without a Tyreek Hill, will he still be great? We don't know. We don't know that because he done at least
We,
had one of those.
we at least have more evidence of that because Patrick Mahomes, look at his stats this year, and he lost his number one receiver who is putting up all Madden numbers for another quarterback in
Mm-hmm.
Miami. Yes, he still
But
has Travis.
who's still
Yes, he still
there?
has Travis. Yes, he still has Travis Kelce. Travis
Yes,
Kelce he might be the greatest pass catching tight end
of all
since
time.
of all time, but since Tony Gonzalez, maybe.
Yeah.
Like pure, like he's basically a glorified receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So fine. But it's not like he stacked the deck. Mahomes stacked the deck and his force fed um Travis Kelce either. He spread that ball around. Juju Smith-Schuster almost touched 1,000 yards receiving. I mean, and the other guys that are getting burned here, Kadarius Toney, who came from the Giants, who looked like he was a nobody, who looked
Mm-hmm.
like he couldn't contribute,
Mm-hmm.
is sitting on the Giants bench. He's a valid contributor on this team, on the Chiefs team.
Mm-hmm.
McCole Hartman, who was gone for stretches of the season, has contributed. I'm just saying. So I get what you're saying. Yes, Mahomes might be a different quarterback without Kelce and without Tyreek Hill for most of his career so far. I get that. That's fair. But that doesn't necessarily mean if you gave Daniel Jones the same talent, he would have a similar result. And that's my pushback.
Not right now. Not right now. What I'm saying is
he's in year 4.
In the future, from this year right now,
okay,
to the end of his career, that's when you're
in
about
like
to see
2 or
the
3
elite.
seasons.
Huh?
In like 2 or 3 seasons.
I'm saying,
all right, you're
I'm
predicting that he'll have a trajectory of Aaron Rodgers. I'm telling you, my prediction for Daniel Jones is that he'll last maybe 6 seasons, maybe 7. I'm being generous with 7.
Hold on, are you saying 6 seasons, 7 seasons of like being elite, or are you saying just being the quarterback for the
Period.
Giants?
Being a starting quarterback, I think is more likely he'll be out of the league like Josh Rosen than it is that he'll have a trajectory of like an Aaron Rodgers, and this day ball Daniel Jones experiment will mirror something to the lines of like a Drew Brees, Sean Payton marriage. I don't even think it would mirror a Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson marriage. I think personally, I don't see Daniel Jones lasting double-digit years in the NFL. As a starting QB, absolutely not. I don't.
So when you make a prediction, right?
Right.
You're not supposed to see it right now. We're predicting the future.
I just predicted the future.
If I'm in
I'm saying he'll have 7 seasons maybe as a starting quarterback, maybe, and he's already in year 4.
Year 4. I just read you Drew Brees.
I think he has 3 more seasons maybe as a starter in this league. I think his career trajectory will be more Blake Bortles and Blaine Gabbert than what you're saying. That's what I'm saying.
You're disrespecting Daniel Jones. That's what you're doing. You're trying to compare him to bottom feeders.
His stats have given me enough to do that. Matter of fact, I'll be generous. His career will be more of a trajectory of a Tannehill. And that's me being generous.
So it seems like Daniel Jones haven't fully played 16 games into this year. He finally played all 16 games. Mm-hmm. Yes, was his stats, mind blowing? No, they weren't mind blowing. Right. 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Right. Yes, that's good on interceptions. However, the touchdowns aren't the best. But mm-hmm. when I told you about these playmakers that he has around him, I mean, getting 15 touchdowns is amazing to me.
Yeah, sure. I've seen quarterbacks have 20 plus touchdowns with guys like Todd Pinkston and Freddie Mitchell. So I'm sorry if I'm a little spoiled.
Hold on. You talking about Donovan McNabb?
Absolutely.
Who was already at an elite level at that time?
I'm just saying. He's done more with less.
For this man to go out there and put up 32 plus, 100 yards plus 15 touchdowns, given the talent and being sacked 44 times.
Man.
To me, I feel like that's the beginning of if you put some weapons, if you give him a weapon, let's say you go out here and get him an elite, maybe like a DeAndre Hopkins, somebody like that who probably doesn't want to come back to the Cardinals, or you trade for
D-Hop. You think Stephon Diggs doing this on the sidelines to Josh Allen in the playoffs is bad? Wait till D-Hop, if they sign a D-Hop to the Giants and he like, bruh, how you overthrow me? I'm like 6'2", and I can catch anything you throw.
It may be a match made in heaven.
Oh boy,
it'll be a match made in heaven. Let's just get him an elite wide receiver, and let's just see what he do.
Okay, sure.
Let's see what he do. Let's see what
Trevor Lawrence had Ingram. Daniel Jones had Ingram. Just saying.
But we know Evan Ingram. We know Evan Ingram wasn't that good in New York. We know that he was like, okay, he'll miss a lot of he missed a lot of passes. Mm-hmm. He's only 6'3". I mean, as a tight end, that's not really that big.
but
He was more of
it's
like
not
a
like he was
receiver. He
5'11".
was more of like a Shannon Sharp, a tweener. What they say a tweener.
Okay.
He could be a receiver, but he may be too big to be a receiver as far as size,
Right.
as weight, and
Right.
he's too small to be a tight
Yeah,
end. So they
tight
put
end.
him as a tweener, and he kind of like just working the slot.
Okay.
So for me, I feel like if you can give him an elite receiver or a decent enough receiver that can go out there and make some plays, I think you may have your guy.
I think you got a red Solo cup full of something, and I don't need you to drink that no more. I love you, but this ain't it.
Because
This ain't
we didn't see this with Drew Brees though. We could have easily said Drew Brees written off.
That's not fair though, because Drew Brees played him. Drew Brees, Donovan McNabb, those guys played in more passing-led offenses, and they had more passing attacks. And to be fair, to Drew Brees back then, he had LaDainian Tomlinson. That was the key of the offense, right? And then Drew Brees was coming into his own, yes, and nobody could have predicted. I get what you're saying. You're saying, hey, this guy was a stab in the dark, and he just needed the right fit, the right system, and the right coach to maximize his talent. And you believe that in the same way that Sean Payton maximized Daniel Jones's talents, you believe that Brian Daboll can and will do the same for Daniel Jones. Yeah, I'm saying it
like
sounds nice,
Josh Allen.
Right? I respect that. However, I don't see that happening the way you see it happening. So I see him maybe having another career or another season next year, assuming they bring back Saquon, and let's say they do upgrade the receiver room a little bit. I see him having an increase on this season, but then I think he's going to peak at next year, and then pretty much do a Ryan Tannehill, and then it's like, ooh, damn, we overpaid. Now what do we do? Because now they're hamstrung. The Titans are hamstrung to Ryan Tannehill. It's like, do we eat a lot of dead money and get rid of this guy, or do we suffer through mediocre play and hope that we tank enough to get the next savior? Or another example, Joe Flacco in his last couple of years after he won the Super Bowl, where it's like he struck the iron when it was hot, got his money, and then man.
Okay, how about I change it from Aaron Rodgers?
I know you said what you said, Chief.
How about a Matt Ryan?
Ooh, listen. If he even comes close to a Matt Ryan career, I might buy a Daniel Jones jersey and frame it. Like I'll buy it.
I should be able to sign that.
Yes, and you can put whatever you want. You can be like, "I told you so." It feels good to be smarter than you. You can write whatever you want on that jersey. If he even sniffs at a Matt Ryan career, come on, man. Yeah. He done won the whole game. But I'm telling you, it's gonna be more Ryan Tannehill than Matt Ryan. I'll tell you this. Nah, okay. Man. We'll see though.
All right. See. Well, y'all heard it here first. Your boy already I didn't predict a lot of things just in this year. This first season, I didn't predict a lot of great things. So, I don't know why you want to doubt me yet. I don't know why you want to doubt me, but okay, we're gonna see next year.
Who was your Super Bowl pick this year?
Okay, I messed up on that one. Okay. My NFC, I did change it like twice, but because I did have the Falcons at first, and then I said Minnesota. But my Super Bowl winner is still alive right now. Fair enough. We about to get to it. We about to get to the next topic. Fair enough. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get to that next topic. We got this is gonna be a great topic. So as we know, Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes will be going head to head this next week for the to see who's going to punch that ticket to the Super Bowl. As we know, Joe Burrow is currently 3-0 versus Patrick Mahomes, and so the question is, would a Bengals win cement Joe Burrow as the best quarterback in the NFL right now? What do you think, man?
Nope. However, would it open the conversation? Absolutely. But I don't think it would cement him as the best, because part of why I would say that is, as much as I am amazed and in awe of Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
the deck is kind of stacked in his favor. And what I mean by that is he has legitimately 3 number 1 wide receivers. He has a solid, if not strong, running game. And I mean, the way that team is constructed, they also have a solid, if not decent, defense. Yes, their offensive line is not good, but we've seen quarterbacks who have been able to thrive with less than stellar offensive line play. Peyton Manning, there were a couple of years where guys like Joe Burrow, they mask a lot of deficiencies on a team. Mm-hmm. So for me, he's definitely in the conversation even before playing this game, just off of what he's done over the past 2.5 seasons. However, Patrick Mahomes, I think, elevated his play this year to a different level to account for the fact that he lost his number 1 go-to, not only deep threat, but his number 1 go-to target. Mm. And that has to account for something. In addition to the fact that he's very close to his MVP winning numbers this year without the deck being stacked in his favor. He has no running game. We've seen an elite quarterback with no running game, mm-hmm. and we've seen an increase in his interceptions. We've seen an increase in his decision making being sporadic. We've seen other quarterbacks who were seemingly elite, and they lose a guy like a Devontae Adams, and offensively they're inept. Mm-hmm. There was no step back in terms of Patrick Mahomes' performance this past regular season. If anything, he elevated it with losing pieces and not having a running game. Yes, he has one of the greatest offensive coaches in the history of the league. Yes, he also has one of the premier offensive coordinators who does not get enough credit in Eric Bieniemy. However, he's the one in the center, in the pocket, making this thing go.
Yeah.
And considering the fact it took an ankle injury for people to question whether he's going to be the better quarterback in this game, come on.
Right.
Fine. If Joe Burrow and the Bengals beat the Chiefs, which is not that far-fetched, it could very well happen. I'm still not going to say that's enough to dethrone him, but it certainly opens up the door to have that conversation. And I wouldn't be mad if someone did. And I will say this, Joe Burrow has leapfrogged Josh Allen. And instead of it being Allen and just in one season, by the way,
right?
Instead of it being Josh Allen and Mahomes being the new Brady Manning, it's now Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And if we compare them, if we're saying that those are going to be the two guys, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady faced each other 17 times over the course of their Hall of Fame careers, right? Brady is leading or led that 11-6. However, Manning has beaten Brady when it's mattered most in a few of those AFC Championship games. Mm-hmm. But it took him later on in his career to actually do it. Yeah. I could see a similar situation where if you compare the two, maybe you say Burrow is more the Brady side of it, and Mahomes is more the Manning side. I think that's a fair comparison. And I think ultimately that may be how their careers shape out.
Right.
Where Burrow is going to beat Mahomes maybe more than Mahomes beats Burrow. But I
Yeah.
think when it's all said and done, you'll still have enough argument for people to say, hey, Mahomes is the better of the quarterbacks.
Mm.
I personally believe it's very possible for Joe Burrow to have more Super Bowl rings, more accolades, and he might even play longer than Mahomes just because their play styles
Yeah.
are pretty different.
Yep.
And I think Burrow might be the last of those potential true pocket passing quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Guys like that last longer.
Yeah.
Whereas Mahomes is an athlete who can be a pocket passer.
Right.
But the way he plays and all of that, it lends him more to injuries that could derail his career faster.
Mm-hmm.
Saying all that to say this, I love Joe Burrow. He definitely has BDE. He definitely plays like a man who knows that he has the talent and he has the tools and he has the resources and he's going to maximize that.
Right.
I think he's correct in saying our window is my entire career.
Yeah.
That being said, it's still Mahomes' league until Burrow beats him and then wins the Super Bowl the same year that he beats him. If he can't do that, it's 1A, 1B at best.
Yeah. I definitely agree with everything you said. I think, yes, if Joe Burrow go and win a Super Bowl this year, will he still won't be better than Patrick Mahomes because yes, they will both have the same amount of Super Bowls. Yes, Joe Burrow will have the winning record over Patrick Mahomes. However, Patrick Mahomes also has an MVP. He has an Offensive Player of the Year. He has things that Joe Burrow have yet. I don't think Joe Burrow would. It's going to be hard for him to get an MVP because I feel like yes, he puts up a lot of numbers, but it's also about popularity as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we don't really have many plays that we can remember that Joe Burrow did, whereas Patrick Mahomes has a lot of memorable plays that you be like, man, you saw the way he threw that ball. He did this. He did. He's gonna win that popularity vote, which is gonna help him win that MVP. Unless Joe Burrow goes out there and just put up extraordinary numbers that nobody have ever seen, I think that's gonna hinder him from winning that MVP. I think one day he will win the MVP, just not right now. But where Joe Burrow has the opportunity to one day leapfrog Patrick Mahomes and be the best quarterback, which I think he will be over time, is exactly why you said he's a pocket passer who's going to be able to play longer. I think he's in a better position to win in a long term than Patrick Mahomes because Travis Kelce, he ain't got that many years. Tyreek Hill is already gone. He never had an elite running back coming out the backfield. Right. And defense has been somewhat good, but not great, especially this year. And I think Patrick Mahomes, I think over time when he's gonna keep taking blows to the body too much, where it's gonna slow him down, where he's gonna lose some of that. Now with the arm talent, he has that over Joe Burrow. However, Joe Burrow reminds me more of Tom Brady because he has that demeanor where it's like, okay, he's gonna make the right throws. He has some talent on the outside. He has a nice running game, and the defense is pretty solid. And I think that they're a young team, so over time they just gonna keep getting better and better and better. Patrick Mahomes, the best thing he has for him going right now is that he has a great coach, one of the greatest coaches of all time. However, how long do Andy Reid have? Will Eric Bieniemy? Hopefully, Andy Reid hands over the keys to Eric Bieniemy and he can become the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. But it's kind of like you have more of a, okay, I can see Joe Burrow them keeping this team together and they winning a lot of championships. Whereas Patrick Mahomes is kind of like, okay, how many more years do we have with you having this elite talent before it's pretty much the covet is bare and you having to go grocery shopping again? So I believe that Joe Burrow eventually will leapfrog him, but if he wins this Super Bowl, I think they'll be neck and neck, but it's going to take for them to win another Super Bowl or MVP, somebody's gonna have to show a little bit more ability to be able to say, hey, I'm right now I'm the best quarterback in the NFL. But if I'm talking about right now, even if Joe Burrow wins tomorrow and he wins the Super Bowl, I still believe that Patrick Mahomes is the better quarterback because Patrick Mahomes did go to a Super Bowl. He beat the GOAT. He almost went to another Super Bowl last year. And Joe Burrow did go to that Super Bowl. He did lose that Super Bowl to the Rams. However, nobody saw the Bengals going to the Super Bowl last year, and he did make a tremendous stride, and came off an injury that the year before, and now he gets the team back up with his receiver that he had at LSU, plus T Higgins, plus Tyler Boyd. But can you win the big game? This is a big game this weekend. Yes, you have the record over Patrick Mahomes, but this is the one that's going to solidify your greatness. If you can get this win tomorrow in the Arrowhead, which they call Burrowhead, if you can win tomorrow and then go to the Super Bowl and probably compete against the Eagles or the San Francisco 49ers, we'll find out tomorrow, then I believe that, yes, it will put y'all neck and neck, but you're going to need to win another Super Bowl or at least make it to another Super Bowl before Patrick Mahomes does, and you're probably going to need to win an MVP in order for me to say, yes, you're better than Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes he has the better talent with his arm, so it makes him look better than Joe Burrow just throwing the boring passes to Jamar Chase. Throwing a short pass to Jamar Chase, and Jamar Chase just doing all he winning. He getting a lot of yards out the catch, which helps your stats. So I think it's going to take a few more Super Bowl. It's going to take a Super Bowl plus another Super Bowl, at least an appearance, for him to be deemed as the best quarterback in the NFL.
But just the mere fact that he's in the conversation and it's not unreasonable after 2.5 years is remarkable.
Oh yeah, he's definitely
and to his credit, to be fair, he started off slow because he was still recovering from a lacerated kidney, I believe.
Right.
So who knows where his stats would have been if he started off all cylinders. He might have been in the MVP or stronger in the MVP conversation this year.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said.
Right now, I would definitely say he's my favorite quarterback right now, just because I like the pocket passer. I like the swagger that he brings to this team, because he's a leader of this team. When they win, they get behind Joe Burrow. I do love that. And Patrick Mahomes is a leader as well. Great arm talent and everything like that. However, for me, I like boring quarterbacks. I just like them because for some reason I like the quarterback play. I like for you to use technique, and I like that. Patrick Mahomes, he's more of a street baller. He gonna throw the no look pass. He gonna do a lot of amazing things. He's gonna improvise, and he has a strong arm, so he's able to make the throws that he needs to make. But for me, Joe Burrow has the more longevity with his skill set, and he has more talent around him that Patrick Mahomes probably have never, been able to have. Three elite receivers that can go to another team and be the starter, be the number one receiver, and then have a running back in Joe Mixon who can, who at one point was one of the best running backs in the league. So far, he hasn't been able to get back to that level, but he's still solid. And a defense that's pretty elite, I must say. So I would say Joe Burrow is my favorite quarterback, but right now the best quarterback in the NFL is Patrick Mahomes.
I dig that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he's definitely number two. It's pretty much like you said, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. Which one is your favorite? To me, my favorite was Peyton Manning, just because I like everything that he was able to do during his career. Although he don't have the Super Bowls like Tom Brady, he don't have the winning record against Tom Brady in the big games. Tom Brady had the better coach. Even though you can pretty much argue that Tony Dungy could have been better. I just feel like, well, I ain't gonna say he's better than Bill Belichick, no, but he definitely had a coach that was pretty elite, and he had receivers more than Tom Brady. Early in his career, throughout his career with Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison, and then went to Broncos and ended up turning the Broncos into an elite, Emmanuel Sanders, the guy who just died, Demaryius. Okay. Yeah, Demaryius Thomas, and then Julius Thomas. He actually made
Right,
Julius
right,
Thomas, and he went to
right,
Jacksonville, got that big check, and I
right,
ain't heard from him since. I think it was
right.
Joe
Wes
Thomas.
Welker. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Wes
they both had
Welker.
Wes Welker.
Even though Tom Brady had him as well, but
Mhm.
yeah. So it's either which one you like better, Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
It's just pretty much what you like better.
Right.
But if you ask most people, if you ask 100 people, probably 99 or 95% would say Patrick Mahomes right now.
I think that number is lower, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's definitely Mahomes' league, but
And I'm
Joe
not
Burrow's
saying that
applying
Patrick
that pressure.
Mahomes would get the most votes just because he's the most winning. Won more. I think it just goes back to that popularity
No,
context.
no, I get what you mean.
Patrick Mahomes, he throws the deep balls, he throws the erotic passes, and I think that's what gives him that head over shoulders above heads and shoulders of Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow kind of gives you that. I'm just gonna throw the ball to my receivers and let them make a play.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I get that. It's funny. I feel like last point for me about Joe Burrow, I feel like he's the evolution of Tom Brady.
yes.
Because the one thing that Tom Brady, for the most part of his career, his Achilles heel is if you rattle him out of the pocket,
Yeah.
you could stack the
Disrupt.
deck in your favor. You could
Right.
disrupt his timing. You could actually give yourself a chance.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just so difficult to do.
Yep.
With Burrow, he has escapability. It's almost like he's Drew Brees in the pocket, but Tom Brady everywhere else.
Yep. Yep.
And then he has enough athleticism to escape and gash you like a Big Ben in his prime.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
tomorrow
Yep.
and the rest of their careers.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a showdown, man. It's definitely gonna be a showdown. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get to the last things that we like to do, and that's the predictions. I think the first week I know I got the Minnesota Vikings wrong. I'm pretty sure I got the Buffalo. I'm sorry, not the Buffalo Bills, because they won the first round. Um, who I forgot our picks. And then last week, I'm pretty sure we didn't have a show last week, so we wasn't able to predict. But we're gonna go ahead and predict who's punching these tickets to the Super Bowl. So we're gonna start off with the AFC first. We got the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Kansas City Chiefs, Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes, head to head. Who you got, bro?
I'm rocking with my homie, man. Give me the Chiefs.
Okay.
And in
Well,
fact, I actually have a prediction of the score. So for this one, I think is going to be a shootout, and I like 33-30. Chiefs winning on a field goal.
Well, I don't have a score that I can predict, but I do say Joe Burrow will remain undefeated versus Patrick Mahomes and punch his ticket again back to back to the Super Bowl. So I just feel like they have more elite talent around him that's going to be able to show up. Jamar Chase, I mean, to me, one of the best wide receivers in the league right now. You can make an argument, probably the best. And I just feel like they just have a lot of weapons, and Kansas City Chiefs defense, although they have been somewhat solid lately, however, I think the Bengals just have too much for them to handle, and the Bengals can get to your quarterback when they need to. I think their defense is enough to slow down Patrick Mahomes. So I got it a close. I would have it a close game as well. Probably not a high scoring game. I think it's going to be like maybe a 21-24. I would say Bengals win by 3.
That's fair.
Yep. That's fair. All right, we're gonna get to the last game, probably the game of the week. Everybody waiting to see, because to me, this is probably one of the best games we'll probably see in this playoffs. We got the San Francisco 49ers matching up against Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. We got Brock Purdy, man. Is it gonna be a Purdy day, or is it gonna be a Hurts day?
I'm rocking with the hometown team for 2 reasons. The enemy of my enemy is my friends. As a Rams fan, I will never root for the 49ers.
Okay.
So, and then on top of it, I think while the 49ers are scary
Mm.
and Brock Purdy is playing with house money, I really think the X factor will be two things. One, that defensive line of the Eagles being able to rotate multiple guys and still get pressure,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be a key factor. And I think that might rattle Brock Purdy's cage just enough. But I also think the major X factor is going to be Jalen Hurts and his play. I think the knock on him, Stephen A. Smith did a great job recently and said, even from college, the one knock on Jalen Hurts is that in terms of championship caliber games,
Mm.
he falters a little bit. And with this being the NFC Championship, this is an opportunity for him to repair that image. And I do think this is the game where he will do that. That both of those teams are going to be ready to play, but
Mm-hmm.
they're playing in the link. Our fans, the Eagles fans, are going to be nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, I just believe that again, the defense is going to do enough to give Jalen Hurts a chance to make a winning play. I have a score of 24-17.
Mm.
I think part of that will be Brock Purdy will throw at least one pick, and that pick or fumble might be the deciding factor in the game.
Mm. I'm gonna have to go with the Eagles as well. I gotta go with the Eagles. One, because Brock Purdy, he's pretty much playing with house money. I mean,
Absolutely.
he have shown enough to say, hey, maybe the same if they keep, developing him, maybe he's gonna be that guy for them. Um, I just feel like he haven't seen the type of defense that he's about to see tomorrow with two elite cornerbacks. Darius Slay and James Bradbury. They've been a good little duo this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Brock Purdy, he's been able to get away with just having playmakers that
Right.
can make plays. But what happens when those playmakers are taken away from you?
Right.
Can you make those throws when you need to make them in the
Right.
key moments? And I just don't think that Purdy is ready to take that level of quarterback play, that step in that direction yet. I think yes, they have C-Mac who's going to be able to run that ball, but you got an elite defensive line, an elite front seven of the Philadelphia Eagles that can stop the run. And I always say Kyle Shanahan gets in his own way. Every time he always gets in his own way. He wants to be seen as he wants to be seen as this offensive guru. And what he's gonna do is he's gonna go out there and try to throw the ball just to make himself. Oh, look what I did with Brock Purdy. I took Brock Purdy and I threw it against the Eagles, and that's gonna be the no for him. He always gets in his own way. Instead of running the ball, he passed the ball. And also, I do think that San Francisco defense, Jalen Hurts is gonna have, he's gonna have some hard times as well because that defensive line
Mm-hmm.
can get to you and Joey
Absolutely.
with Nick Bosa.
Absolutely.
But I just feel like I think both defenses will show up. However, it's going to come down to which quarterback can lead their team to the promised land. And I believe more in Jalen Hurts than I do in Brock Purdy, just because Brock Purdy he don't have this experience. Jalen Hurts at least has some playoff experience. They're playing at home, which we already know. Them Eagle fans, they licking their chops. They see a Super Bowl. They smell it right now. So I just
Mm-hmm.
believe that Jalen Hurts this is his time to etch his name, or to put his name in the level of, hey, this is an elite quarterback. Here we go. This is your moment to show everybody, can you lead this team to a Super Bowl? And I think that Jalen Hurts will be able to do that. He has shown that he can lead this team. Without him, the team is nothing. With him, the team has been able to have almost an undefeated season. They only been tripped up once since Jalen Hurts been on the field. And you got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Miles Sanders, plus you got Jalen Hurts running.
Dallas
It's
Goedert. Mm-hmm.
Dallas Goedert. So it's a lot of weaponry coming for the San Francisco 49ers. And I don't think that Brock Purdy will be able to keep up with the numbers that the Eagles can put up. So I got the Eagles winning this game in a line, like in a big way, the way they beat the Giants. but I feel like the San Francisco 49ers will score more than the Giants. So if I had to pick a score right now, I would say 33-17.
Okay. I'm not mad at it. The other
Mhm.
interesting thing about the Eagles, especially from a pass defense side, you have Bradbury, you have Darius Slay, and CJ
Yes.
Gardner Johnson is
Nice slot.
leading the league
Yeah.
in interceptions, and he
Yes.
missed like 2-3 games,
Yes.
and he's their slot DB. Like, I
Yes.
mean, yeah,
I seen
they're
a lot of
loaded,
I seen a lot of him when he was in New Orleans, so
right?
I'm definitely familiar with Garner.
They are loaded on multiple, and the same can be said about the Niners. I
Yeah.
really think it's going to be a competitive game, but I think ultimately, when it comes down to it, I do believe that the Eagles are more capable of turning over the ball than the 49ers, just based off of what we've seen. Miles Sanders had some fumble trouble earlier in the year. Quez Watkins is a wild card. He sometimes bobbles balls that he should catch. But I do think that, like you said, I think Jalen Hurts is going to elevate his play when his team needs it the most. And I don't necessarily see Brock Purdy matching it, even though he will try. He'll give
Right.
it a good go of
Right.
it. But again, I like it 24-17 Eagles, and we'll see. But I'm excited for both of those
Yeah,
games.
it's both games are gonna be some. I mean, I'm looking for both of these games to be exciting. I
Right.
think the Eagles play first. The Eagles in San Francisco at 3. I want to say 3:30, 3 o'clock, and the next game come on at 6:30. So yeah, it's definitely gonna be some good games tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, we just want to thank you guys for joining us live today. It's been another episode, another great episode of No Huddle with Jeremy and Hassan. Definitely, like I said, man, keep supporting the channel, keep supporting this show as we grow. We hope that you're there as to watch our growth. We just want to say we thank you guys for a great first season. Although we still got probably maybe one more, two more episodes depending on
Indeed.
how we're going to do it. But, we're coming down to the end. So we just want to say thank you guys for giving us a great first season. And we hope that we look to, continue this show and grow it even more next year, next season. So we definitely thank y'all for y'all just being here supporting us, commenting always, leaving us a comment at the end of the video. I know it's Yasuka night and Merrick Gallard. Y'all are like the best fans ever because y'all always put a
Appreciate
comment
y'all.
after the video. Great stream, and you're always in the chat. So we definitely thank y'all for that. Don't forget, man, go to YouTube right now. If you hear my voice, go to YouTube right now. Type in Fan of Atlanta 365 Network and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you can get the notifications sent to your device, letting you know when we go live or when we put some content up on the channel. Catch No Huddle every Saturday at 7 p.m. Hopefully next year you can catch J&B, the Talk of the Dirty South show with me and my boy BB Bush the Great. And then hopefully, another return of Uncle Nephew will resume next year with my nephew J-Man. And then if anybody got any show ideas that they want to launch under the Fan of Atlanta 365 Network umbrella, hey, we welcome that, and we'll definitely allow you the space to come on this show to do your thing. Come on this channel and do your thing. So let me know if you have any shows in mind that you want to do, or somebody else would want to do. Hey, let me know. Hit me up. Definitely catch us next week at 7 o'clock p.m. as we talk about. I'm pretty sure we're gonna discuss the Super Bowl, predictions and all that good stuff. But yeah, definitely catch us next week. Probably gonna be our last show. If not, it'll probably be the week after that. But we definitely coming to the end. You got anything before we get up out of here, man?
Nah, man, everybody be safe.
Yeah.
Enjoy these playoff games. And, I love being correct. I was the regular season champ. So I look forward to cementing my claim and being the postseason champ,
Mm.
just back to back. But we'll see.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Well,
Keep talking, Black.
he was the regular season champ. I was the prediction champ this year. So I like to hold on to that one because that take a little bit more. You can't chalk that one. You got to be real. You got to
Nah.
be dead on that one.
Yeah.
A lot of chalk came from that way, but I digress on that. But no, man, it's been an honor. It's definitely been an honor, man, doing this show with you. I look forward to
Likewise.
another season, bro. It's been great, so I appreciate that. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here, man. Like he said, enjoy football Sunday. Stay safe out here. Protests is going on, especially in Atlanta. So definitely stay safe. Stay warm. It's getting a little, it's a little cool out there. You know, it's a little cold out there. So stay warm, man, and help somebody if you can help somebody, and just lead with love, man. Just lead with love. Put them guns down and start leading with, instead of shooting somebody, give them a hug, man. Let's just see how that changes the whole element of your thinking. You be surprised, man. So yeah, definitely, man. We look forward to seeing y'all next week, and we up out of here. No huddle.